Hello, my name is Em, and I would like to welcome you to this non-loc video. I have been wanting to do more non-loc videos because I just have some things I think it would be interesting for us to talk about, get the conversation going on this channel. So I did kick it off a few months ago talking about relationships. And in that video, I mentioned about how important it is for me to have peace in my life, like have an environment of peace. And in that video, after the video, I got a question about that, and I thought it would be interesting to talk more about this subject in a separate video, which is why we are here right now. So I will start off by saying this though. I am not even going to pretend that I do not have times of extreme anxiety, extreme chaos that I have either caused or just have chosen, really been like, I'm not dealing with this chaos, and yet still letting it overwhelm me completely, though I probably could do something about it. I get messy moments, and in this video, I want to be very clear that it's not that I have perfected any of these things in any way, but it's things that have helped me, and it's about the journey towards that constant work towards having peace in my life, that active commitment. What am I actively doing to eliminate or reduce chaos? I think in life there's a lot of things that are thrown our way, but so many things are thrown at us. I feel like if there is anything that we can control and make more simple to encourage a peaceful environment, I feel like it's a good thing to do. So I guess to define peace a little bit more, I would say that it's not necessarily the absence of chaos or anything like that. It's more in how we deal with it, and are we committing ourselves to, or I guess more empowering ourselves to deal with it in a healthy way. So that's kind of how I want to define it for the purpose of this video. So with that being said, I'm going to dive into the first point that I was thinking of earlier today. So first thing is, I like to cut out, as much as possible, I like to cut out the little things that might cause any sort of chaos in my life. So little things like that are on their own pretty harmless, and really you wouldn't probably think too much of them, but when combined with lots of those little things, I think it can tend to feel a bit overwhelming, and it can invite in some mess. So a simple example of this for me is I don't shop at the store during very busy hours. You will not catch me at the grocery store at 5 p.m. on a Friday, right after a lot of people are getting out of work, stopping by the store on the way home. I won't do it. And it's not a big deal. If I did, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, of course. But for me, I just find that shopping much later in the day or super early in the day, for me, is just much more calm. I don't have to the traffic is not as crazy, and the store is not as busy. It's so much easier just to get straight to what I'm trying to get and get out of there. And I waste less time overall. It kind of balances out in a good way. So that's something that I just try to do intentionally. And there's lots of other things like that. But I kind of stumbled across this because I think one day I was going to the store. I just wanted to I don't know, for whatever reason, I just had to go to the store super early and get something. And it's just like, wait, it's like 8 a.m. on a Sunday. I was like, what is this? And I know 8 a.m. is not super early, but for Sunday, it's super early. And to me, I was just like, I didn't know the store could be like this. Like, I can just see everything, get to everything. And it was quite a good moment, but just discovering things like that. And there's lots of other stuff. And I just feel like sometimes it can just add up to that. I was talking with somebody who she got distracted or whatever. She sometimes gets distracted trying to accomplish different tasks throughout the day. And then I called her, we were talking for a second. She's like, oh, I'm about to head to the store. And I'm looking and I'm like, it's like 5 p.m. on Friday. I was like, you sure you want to go right now? she was stuck in line for so long going out to the store, and I was just like, and I just had just suggested this to her, so we'll see if she tries to switch it up if possible. So anyway, there's tons of other areas where one can do that, but I think you get the idea behind that one. So this second point I want to make, and for me probably the most important one, or one of the more important ones, is spending time outdoors. And I don't necessarily mean packing on some like hiking gear and going up to the mountains. I'm not talking about that. I just mean literally just being outside. If that means stepping a foot outside my front door, if that means going out to parks, I do very intentionally make sure to walk. I set aside time to walk, and sometimes there was a time I was trying to get a certification. I was working 2 jobs. I was still trying to teach Zumba class and all this I was trying to do a bunch of things, and I still made sure to make time just for a brief walk. I was like, let's just do like a 10-minute walk. So my husband and I walked, and we typically walk together. Sometimes if he's not available to do so, I'll still go walking. It doesn't matter. I'm walking. And so, but when he and I walk, it's been very good, I think, just in general for our relationship. And we can talk throughout things that he's dealing with, I'm dealing with, we're both dealing with, plan of attack for the week, that sort of thing. I also find it helpful for relationship building, even with others. So walking with my mom or siblings or anything like that, I think it can be a good bonding experience. It can be just a time to be apart from so many of the things that typically can weigh us down. I think a lot of our stressors in this day and age are indoors. Back in the day, a lot of stressors were outdoors. Nowadays, it's indoors. I can get overwhelmed just looking at my phone or my computer, whether I'm looking at something good or bad, news, or just multiple stories, or anything that I'm looking at on a screen. It's still a lot of information thrown at us, and not much about me being active about my life. And like I said, I think when it comes to peace and talking about peace, I think it's about being active about it can be about being active about our lives. And I feel like when I'm out in nature, I feel like it brings some awareness back into my mind. And just anytime I have found it to be soothing, whether it was trying to just deal with classes in school, or whether it was dealing with a relationship, or dealing with loss, so many things I have found just when I'm outside, I'm being out there, I just feel like it's such a natural, soothing place to be outdoors, and I make it a priority to go to a park. I like to have dedicated times just to go there. And even if I have things to do, it's still better to do them outside if I can, and if the weather's cooperating. But even then, I still might go out for a few minutes, And so that's a really big one for me. I do try to do meditative walks sometimes. My brain will not let me completely meditate the entire time I'm walking. But what I will do is I'll have like, all right, for this minute, I'm going to just like really pay attention to what's around me. I'm going to really look at the trees. I'm going to look at this and do that. And it's really nice. But I also have times where I have a hammock that I keep in my car at all times. And sometimes I'll just hammock. I'll just sit and I'll lay in the park, and like maybe I want to read, and or I have some reading I want to do, or anything. And it's just a beautiful environment. I call it my living room. It's my living room. Once I set up my hammock, it's over. It's a complete place of comfort and tranquility. So that's a big one for me. And I think there have been plenty of studies that show that just being outdoors for people, it can really help with your mood and all of that. So that's something I throw out there. And relating to what I was saying about how a lot of our stressors are on our screens, something else that I've done, and I think this would be point 3 maybe, is I have limited the amount of news that I consume. A lot of times, like a few years ago, I would always just I'd instantly like I'm looking at what's going on in the world and all of that, and it didn't make me feel very good about my fellow man, life, anything. And I just started feeling more overwhelmed and more helpless, and that it wasn't doing much good. Like there's not especially some of the worst things, I just feel completely helpless in many ways. But I do have my world, my circle that I have some influence over. So I just was finding it was much more better for my mental health, my peace, to not just sit there and just consume news. News is made, the way it's set up is to trigger strong emotional responses in people, get more clicks, get people worked up, like it's all, it's meant to overwhelm. It's meant to give that feeling. And then we get caught up in it, like, oh, what's going to happen with this and what's going to happen with that. And I think having some awareness is good, but not the level of awareness that I was having. It was too much. It was way too much. And I feel so much better having a lot less of it thrown at me on a regular basis. So that's something I feel is extremely important for my brain to just So that's a big one. And let's see, I think this is the fourth point. Okay, this one is saying no. This is something I feel like I have gotten much better with over time. In the past, sometimes people would ask me to do things and it would just lead to such a chaotic, sometimes dramatic thing. Whether it's being pulled into a social situation that I just know is not going to be the healthiest thing for me, or just healthy in general, I would kind of let myself be guilted into it. I can no longer be guilted into things like this. No, when I say no, I'm saying I'm not going to this thing. I'm not going. I don't have time for nonsense. I don't need to invite nonsense into my house. I don't need to invite it into my daily routine. I don't need to do that. Like I said, life throws plenty at us. I am not going to open my doors and then send out invitation, pull chaos in. I'm not doing that. And so I've become a lot more unapologetic about it. And fortunately, people around me know I'm pretty straightforward. I don't know if I come off that way on video, but I am a very straightforward person. And I do try to handle things carefully and how I say it and all of that. Because I still want good relationships with people, but when I say no, I'm serious. I mean, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm not going near. I'm not going near that. Or if it's a situation where I just know it's going to be extra mess, extra drama. I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm good. I don't mind watching a dramatic movie or anything like that, but in real life, I don't know. No, we're not going to do that. So that's a big one. Another one, maybe it's point 5 or number 5 on the list. It's embracing fun activities I can do on my own. And let me explain what I mean by that. So I feel like sometimes, no matter how close we are to people, I think having too strong of a dependence can be unhealthy when it comes to understanding how much power we have to create our own happiness, to create our own peace. And I'm very close with my family, and I love spending time with them. I could always spend time with them. But what I don't want is the level of dependence to the point where then if someone's not available to hang out, talk, whatever, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know how to be happy, or I only associate the feelings of happiness and peace with them because I feel so relaxed with them. I feel so comfortable with them. Oftentimes when we feel comfortable, when we feel happy, that's a peaceful moment. But if I can only feel it with them and not when I'm with myself, that's not good. And so what I try to do is have times for me, like me days. And I will, or usually me evenings it typically is. So I will go out to eat. I'll take myself out to eat. I'll go to a favorite park. I will paint. I will dance. I will do the things that I really like. And it's a gift to myself. And it's an empowering moment, a way to remind myself that I am able to make this happen. And I just would take it back to dependence, because it'd be very easy to be dependent on the people I love. It's very easy to give in. And I think to some level I'm probably still dependent in some ways, but I still am reminding myself that I am able to do this on my own too. you know, not completely on my own, but you know what I'm saying. It's hard to get the words right all the time. I'm doing this all in one take, so if I mess it up, it's gonna have to live in the video. But just to some extent, it's just nice to exercise that. But I mean, the bottom line is, I do think people need people. We need each other, and it's not to ignore that, but it's also to remind ourselves that we also need to love ourselves and be very intentional about that feeling. So yeah, so those are some ways I try to do that, and I find it to be very empowering. Okay. The next thing is laughter. I love to laugh and use laughing comedy as a way to pull myself out of any time, like if work is overwhelming or I get caught too much news somehow, everything is overwhelming. I find that just being able to laugh pulls me back into a good peace of mind, a good place. And I just feel so much better. And especially, yeah, it's been a long day. I will usually in the day, I'll maybe watch something funny. I will talk to somebody really funny. I will read something funny. I love a good meme. And just a moment, just to like release some tension. And I always feel better after I have had a chance to have a really good laugh. It's the best medicine, as they say. Like, laughter is good medicine, and I really do live that. And like I said, I definitely have chaotic moments and chaotic times, and I don't know. This one definitely works for me. For relaxing. The last one that I have on my list is cutting out unhealthy relationships. So I will say this: you can have two decent people who, for some reason, when combining their presence, when they are interacting, it can pull out negative things, just depending on different personalities and needs and all that type of stuff. Sometimes even two decent people can bring out not so good things in the other person. And cutting out friendships, I think before it was something I didn't do very well. I wasn't good at being able to draw the line, and I know nowadays it's very easy. People are just like, yeah, it's very easy. Delete this person, whatever. I'm not the most active on social media, and like on, I don't know, a lot of places where people are connected with their friends or whoever, like Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. So yeah, a lot of my friendships are or have been in person, and it's something I've been good at ending a lot of them, but something I have tried to get better at that. But at least recognizing when something is unhealthy is something I try to be aware of. I like to evaluate. I like to use different points in my life throughout the year to evaluate where I stand in every aspect of my life that I can think to assess. I'm assessing where I'm at with it. And sometimes it does mean cutting things out, and that has been very hard. That is not an easy one. I have a friendship that I ended a little while ago, and it still hurts, you know. It's still, or I still feel a connection to that person, and I think I'll always feel love for them. I'll always appreciate when our friendship was in its golden era, and also recognizing that we both have changed, and sometimes with those changes, things just don't work out anymore, and that's not easy. And so I want to say it that way. Like, I really want to know that it ain't easy, but I do overall, that I think the effect of it has been positive. I think I feel at peace. I did check in with her a while ago after years of us not really connecting, and I mean, sounded like she was at peace as well. So I just feel like sometimes, it just, things don't work. And it started to, if a relationship is starting to bring out any kind of unhealthy thing, or it's not being helpful anymore, it's time to evaluate whether it needs to exist in that way at all. And so I find that sometimes that's when drama can come out when it wouldn't typically otherwise come out. I'm not the kind of person that has a lot of drama in my close relationships. That being said, I don't have a lot of people that I invite into my circle. I'm very, very selective, to the point where I don't have friends outside of my close like family circle. I don't really, maybe one good friend, one close friend outside of that. But aside from that, I'm very selective, and I still would choose peace over the potential drama in a relationship, or chaos. And again, it's not to knock another person. It's just sometimes just two people, the relationship just doesn't work. I mean, ideally, yeah, it would be good to it'd be good to be able to have as many positive, healthy relationships as possible. But also, though, I am more introverted. I'm more like a to myself kind of person. So I think my personality probably wasn't made for friendships in the first place. But just like, it's still good to have those. And I do have like positive acquaintances, all that sort of stuff. But there's still like some layers of protection there. And I think because it can just be dangerous just to invite too many people to the party, you know what I mean? So that's something that I just wanted to be upfront and real about this. And that's my entire list, because there's something else on the list that I can't read, so we'll just have to stop at that point. But what do you think? What do you think of the thoughts, tips that I've shared on how I work to maintain peace in my life? Like I said, things can be very overwhelming. Our life can be very overwhelming. It can throw things at us. So but I still feel like if there's anything we can control, any way we can empower ourselves to feel calm in the midst of chaos, I think it's a good thing to do. And yeah, I it's also something I feel like we just learn over time, just after dealing with our various relationships and experiences. I think sometimes we just eventually find our rhythm, and we figure out what works for us. So anyway, let me know if you have any points, anything you want to add to the conversation, any questions you have. I also do welcome video requests. It can be for a lock video or a non-lock video. I do welcome those down below, so feel free to leave those. But I just want to thank you for tuning in. This is something different, like I said, and I do anticipate I'm going to have another video coming up. I just need to write some things down first. I got to write it down first, and then that helps me feel a little more bold after things have been written out a little bit. So we'll get there. But anyway, until the next video, I hope that you are safe, that you will be well, and that you have peace in your life. And that, or if you don't, finding a way to deal with any kind of chaos, like a nice, healthy way to deal with that. I really do wish you the best and wish you happiness. I will catch you in the next video. So bye for now.